rising ready for the fight. From the court to the field, they shine so bold. With every move, the stories unfold. We're cheering on the youth from the start to the win. Giving them the mic, let their voices begin. Interviews and highlights, we got it all. GN Sports Show, where the young stand tall. GN Sports, where the youth lead the way. Champions of tomorrow, making waves today. From ages 5 and up, we help them grow. It's their time to shine on the GN Sports Show. GN Sports Show. GN Sports Show.
And welcome, guys. Welcome back to season 2 of the GN Sports Show. This is episode 1. I know you've missed us, and we've been working hard to bring a lot of excitement to you. I see a lot of new people out there. Thank you for joining us today and for the rest of the season. We have so much exciting stuff to bring forth. But for today, we have the GNFC under 15 team, we have the Mount Pleasant Football FC, and we have Dr. Rick.
Yes.
Who's
Dr.
always
Rick
full of life and full of information that we love to share with you guys. We also have our UK.
Yes, correspondent director of Future Pro Academy, Mr. Demir Vavan.
Demir Vavan from Future Pro Academy in the UK. So you will want to stay for that. All of those who have aspirations to be and go forward, go abroad to the UK. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Probably get something to drink, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to the GN Sports Show.
Our vision is to become the premier platform for showcasing and empowering young student athletes, providing them with the tools and exposure to excel both in sports and life, while shaping the next generation of confident, media-savvy leaders. The GN Sports Show is dedicated to highlighting the talent and stories of young student athletes across all sports disciplines. We aim to equip them with vital media exposure and public speaking skills, helping them grow into confident individuals both on and off the field. Through engaging interviews, mentorship, and real-world media experiences, we strive to foster personal and professional development that supports their athletic journeys.
And welcome back to the GN Sports Show. On set with us today, we have GNFC Rebel under 15 players, Jaden Brown. Say hi, Jaden. And Cole Gardner. Say hi, Cole.
Hi.
We also have on set with us, who else do we have, Jason?
We have the super goalkeeping coach, Janelle Simon.
That is right. Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome, guys, to GN Sports Show.
You doing okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. You?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. Good.
I think the young guys a little intimidated because they have the amazing Patrice sitting on here, so they're kind of intimidated by that. You know what I mean?
Don't be intimidated.
So,
That's what
guys,
it is.
welcome to GN Sports Show. You know, we brought you all here because we want to know a lot more about you. We want to know what you like, what you don't like. We want to know what is your passion with football and stuff like that. So right now we're going to ask you, like, who got you involved into football, Cole?
Well, my dad, he played football a lot. And, growing up in Antigua, everybody played football. So my mom and dad got me into football at 4 in Generation X. And that's where I developed my love and passion for football.
Wow, very
Very
good.
nice.
What about you, Jaden?
When I was younger, my parents put me into football. I just continued to play, and I liked it, and I continued to watch it.
What
Very nice.
what is your favorite? What position you play, Manama?
Midfield.
Midfield.
Yeah.
What about you, Cole?
Right back.
Right back. You like that position?
Mm-hmm.
What does it entail being a right back?
mean, like, what is it?
Like,
You
what
have to do?
Yeah.
What do you have to do? What's your responsibility as a right back?
I mean, like, as a full back on the wing, you're like centers, they play more defensive, but as a wing back, you still have to defend, but like you're more up.
Still have to take the ball
Still
forward.
have to take the ball forward, yeah.
But you're
I'm
responsible for protecting that
Yeah.
part of it, that side.
Yeah, yeah.
But you have to also come and take the ball forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about you? What do you do as a midfielder?
As a midfielder, you have to control the game. You have to go and attack, and then you still have to come back to defend.
It's a very big
It's
responsibility.
a very, very big responsibility. A lot of people don't understand that.
telling you.
Everybody want to be a midfielder, but they don't understand. The midfielder is like the mid. It's like the torso of your body that has to be strong. The midfielder has to be strong. You have to go up, follow that striker, and then come back and protect that defender. Same way. So it's a big, big job, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what school do you guys attend, Jaden?
I go to St. Joe's Academy.
Okay, what form are you in?
Fourth form.
Fourth form.
Fourth form, wow.
Goodness. And Cole, you?
I'm in academy,
What form are you in?
third form.
Third form. Okay, so you guys are in the same age range. Well, we did say under 15.
Yeah, under 15.
All right, now, if you guys were supposed to name your favorite team, it could be local.
Could be local, could be
Regional,
international. You know what I mean? I would suggest you say Gen X first because you're all in uniform. But you know what I mean, you could do whatever you want. What is your favorite team?
Arsenal.
Arsenal?
Arsenal.
I don't know if I've seen Arsenal in the Prims these days, boy. What about you, Jaden?
Man City.
Well, you have some balancing teams going on there. What position Arsenal in? See, enough said.
No comment.
Enough
He
said.
pleads the fifth.
I know which position.
Huh?
I know position City.
What position?
What
are
position
you in?
City's in?
Fifth.
Fifth?
Fifth.
Who's your favorite teacher
I have
in
to
St.
have a
Joseph
favorite
Academy?
teacher.
Huh?
I have to have a favorite teacher.
You don't have to. It's not. I'm not holding your hand behind your back.
Do you have a favorite
Do you have a
teacher?
favorite teacher?
Probably all the sports teachers.
All yeah.
That's a good one.
All the sports teacher. Hey, all the sports teacher, don't bench Jaden, when sports are back, he say all his favorite. Don't bench Jaden. What about you, Cole?
Miss Edwards and Mr. Mitchell.
What do they teach?
Miss Edwards teach chemistry and biology, and Mr. Mitchell is the PE teacher.
Oh, okay. So you're learning the chemistry and the biology of playing football. That's you like
Something like that.
you like those teachers for that purpose. So what do you want to do when you grow up? When you finish school, when you grow up, you have to start it now. Just to know that, right? Whatever you want to do when you grow up, you have to start laying the foundation for it now. What do you want to do when you grow up, finish school and stuff like that?
Well, the first idea was to be a footballer, but I have to get another thing to do. So probably an accountant or engineer.
Accountant engineer. What about you, Cole?
Football player.
Football player for sure.
And you want to play international?
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
All right. Your goal is your goal, right?
Yeah, you go. Well, it's been a pleasure getting to know you guys and meeting you guys and so forth. I hope you continue with that drive you have
Yes.
with football and with school. It's very important to have something to fall back on. Because we learned before in different instances, football, you can also choose executive aspects of football, administrative aspects of football. You could be a physio,
Therapy.
a sports therapist, a sports journalist. You can do all these different things, but if you love football,
Absolutely.
because you know what I mean. You have to understand that football is a very high impact sport, and God forbid something happen to you on the field, you can't play, but you could still be involved in the sport in all these other avenues. You know what I mean? So keep your focus there, and you know what I mean. It's great. It's great to hear you guys so focused about it, and we want to hear more from you later on. But
all
for
the
right
best.
now, we have to find out about the superstar goalkeeping coach,
Yes,
Janelle
national
Simon,
goalkeeper
national
coach.
goalkeeping coach.
What a
You know
big
what I mean?
title.
Janelle, welcome to the GN Sports Show, my brother.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. We know you've had a long journey and so forth. You had an interesting journey of how you become the goalkeeping coach, which I think people don't know and they should know. So let me start off with that. How did you become a goalkeeping coach?
Wow, most of my career, I'm a goalkeeper. Reason why I have 6 brothers and 1 best friend. And they all play in the attacking position.
Right.
And I'll be smart. Let me go in a position that I can get on the field.
Right.
So I choose the goal because, the goalkeeper at my school, not good. So I'm slim, I'm fast. So, and the rest of history, I became the national goalkeeper at the age of 13.
Wow.
And I play at the U13, U14, right up to the senior team.
Wow.
Yes.
Good job,
So
man.
I unfortunately get injured early and I go straight. They push me straight into the role because most people said I was a decent goalkeeper, so maybe I can make
It was a
good-
natural
Well,
progression.
you made a great impact.
Yes.
That after the injury, they said, "Oh, we can't get rid of Janil, man.
Yes.
We need to push him, and he needs to teach people what he's been doing and what he's doing all these years."
So I learned on the job. I never
Yeah,
get
yeah.
experience to go out and go to coaching school. I just get pushed into the fire, and I just work my way up to now having a goalkeeper license, have a coaching license. So I have to say special thanks to the Antigua Barbados Football Association to give me that opportunity.
That's
That's
amazing.
great, man. But let me tell you something. Don't downplay yourself. People don't downplay yourself in football. A lot of kids coming up and they want to be striker.
Yeah.
99% of the time they want to be a striker. Why? The goalkeeper is so much more important than the striker because any ball leaves that striker and comes down there, he is responsible for stopping that from going into the goal.
Absolutely.
And they don't understand how important a goalkeeper is.
Yes.
You know what I mean? A goalkeeper is very, very, very... And the goalkeeper, to be honest, actually has the most overview of the game. Because while everybody is searching for who to pass, you actually could sit from there and see the whole field and could be able to say, no, Cole,
Yes.
over to Jayden,
Right,
and
right.
Jayden, because you see it.
That's true.
You
That's
see
one of
the play game.
the good thing of being a goalkeeper. I think that goalkeeper, the only person can talk back to the captain because it's a role that you have to talk. You have to give instruction.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to be a captain. You don't have to be the captain man.
Right.
But it forces you to be a leader. Forces you to be a captain because
that.
at the end of the day, you can't make a mistake as a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So you have to get all the players to follow your lead, to respect you, to listen to you. So it's a big role. I enjoy playing it. It's a passion for me because I able to learn the game because it's forced into knowing all different positions. So you can, when you give instruction, you give correct instruction. So I enjoy being a goalkeeper.
Well, I'm a little bit biased because my entire football career I was a goalkeeper.
Oh, well, yes.
From primary school, secondary, college is goalkeeping. I just loved it.
Yes.
I loved it. I don't. Yes, you love the running on the field and everybody cheering, but you see when you do a tackle or you save a ball, these
Yes,
chairs
it's a
are
big
still
thing.
ridiculous.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean? So I love what do you call it, the goalkeeping position, to be honest with you. But let's say you so these kids could understand. How has football taken you out of the Caribbean?
I can definitely say that I've been to all the different Caribbean islands. I've
Wow.
been to Europe, I've been to Asia, I've been to America. Playing gives you that opportunity to travel.
Right.
It also gives me an education. I have my associate in IT, and I also have bachelor's in IT also from football scholarship.
All right.
Wow.
Tell them. You see,
Yes.
you're rushing that one. Tell them how you get this IT scholarship and stuff. I mean, this IT degree and stuff like that, certificate. How did you get it?
One of my teammates at the time was going to Brandon Stratton, and they were looking at goalkeeper, and they offered me a half scholarship.
Wow.
And at the time, my family didn't have money to pay, so I take the chance, and I end up have a very good season. And going to junior college, after I finish 1 year, all the school have the opportunity to get you.
Right.
So the option to keep me there is to offer me a full scholarship, pay off the bill.
Wow.
And I end up getting a full
What a
scholarship.
success story.
So you got a scholarship to Brand Stratton.
Yes.
Did you go to any other colleges? there?
Yeah, so Brandon Stratton is a junior college.
Right.
So after 2 years, I get your associate degree. And then I get recruited from a D1 school, it's University of South Carolina. I played there for a year, and then unfortunately I broke my arm. And you know, when you're D1, after the age of 24, you can't play in D1.
Right.
So
right.
get injured, out for a while. And when I get better, I move on to Clayton State University in Georgia,
Wow.
and there where I finished my college education.
So you see, guys, you know what I mean.
All paid from football.
All paid from
football. I do.
Academics is important.
Yeah.
It is very important.
Yes.
But also, if you have a passion and love for the
Yeah.
game, that can also take you there before the academics get you there. Right? So you have these schools looking at you with two different lenses, both academically and athletically. You know what I mean?
I know you talk about a backup plan, and that was my backup plan because I do get an offer to play in Jamaica and Trinidad Pro. But I know for sure I need a backup plan.
Yep.
So I choose a scholarship
I hope you're
first
listening.
before I go pro, just in case something happened to me.
Definitely,
And
definitely,
as you can see,
definitely.
I get injured. I end up and get a degree, able to come back home and actually my workplace. I'm the manager there, and it's so weird. I don't even work in IT no more. I'm a
It happens
horticulturalist.
like that.
Is a horticulturist?
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Okay.
So I work with plants, and I'm the manager of the nursery at the Department of Environment.
Wow.
So it's just
look at the
just different.
transition.
I'm just keep
Yeah,
going down
yeah.
a different road.
You're just making yourself more marketable, man.
Yes. No, you spoke earlier about important elements for a coach, such as leadership and observation. How would you describe your own coaching philosophy, and how has that evolved over the years?
Over the years, I think that I'm more focused on players' development. A lot of coaches, yes, you want to go out there and win games, you want to score a ton of goals, you want to have clean sheet. But the first thing I think for goalkeepers, I want them to develop the art, they understand exactly their role before you can force them into go out there and make this big vision of making big save, going in and win games. You want them to understand, you want them to enjoy what they're doing. So over the years, that's what worked for me. I try to do different coaching methods that they can learn the different technique and also enjoy the role, because it's a hectic role. And one of the things that you're able to, it forces you to use your whole body, and it's sometimes very scared for especially kids to learn how to dive and fall.
Yeah.
So you want them to enjoy and learn the art before you force them into make sure you have a clean sheet, make sure you make big saves. So over the years, I think that work for me. I'm a very relaxed coach. I don't really force. I try a different method. If I try to catch the ball this way and it don't work, I try it a different way. And over the years, I able to get a good relationship with my players.
Right,
So from the
right.
youth team go right up to the senior team, I can definitely say I get good response, and I have a very good relationship with all of my players.
What do you say the challenges that you might encounter dealing with such a diverse, aspect of coaching in terms of dealing with high schoolers, national team, and clubs and stuff like that? Like, what are the challenges, and how do you overcome those challenges?
And most times, goalkeeping position don't have a coach, and most goalkeepers, they sit on the side.
Yeah.
So when they come to me to do their drills, I have to always start from scratch again.
From scratch. Yeah.
So sometimes it could be very difficult that a player can be catching the ball a particular way, and I have to change the whole technique. So that's the biggest challenge, because most teams don't have a goalkeeper coach.
Right.
So whenever I go to a new club, even with senior goalkeeper, I have to change some of these goalkeeper technique, and it's like you have to start over again.
Right, kind of like
Yeah.
wiping a clean
Yeah.
slate.
Sometimes it can be frustrated, especially when it comes to the senior goalkeepers.
Yes.
But after a while,
a little bit more stubborn, you can say it.
one of the things that make it easy for me, video. So you're able to show them the progress, what they're doing wrong. With the younger guys, a bit easy,
Right.
Because they're
learning. They're not learning phase.
So that's my biggest challenge, because they don't have a goalkeeper coach. So I have to change my whole routine, and you have to start from scratch again.
Well,
Teach
I
them
think-
basic catching.
I think that's so important. Just this afternoon, coming here, I went to a football practice, and it's the same thing. The girls are kicking doing free kicks at the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper is not holding the ball properly. She's not catching the ball properly. She's not positioning herself properly. And I said to one of the players, you all have to let the coach understand that they need a goalkeeping coach, because she needs to know how to receive the ball, how to cushion the ball and stuff like that. Because if you just concentrate on training your midfielders and your centre backs and right backs, and your goalkeeper is holding the ball like this and putting up the hand like this, then it wouldn't make a
Not
difference.
learning, right,
The amount of ball is going to go in that net.
Yes,
It don't matter. So it is important. We do need to have more goalkeeping coaches because you have to train everybody.
Yes.
And that is really the most important thing. You have to train everybody on the team, and that's just the long and short of it.
Absolutely. But in closing, I mean, we've taken up a lot of your time. But in closing, what would you say are some of your long-term goals as a goalkeeping coach, whether at the national level or at the club level?
First, is to acquire my goalkeeper coach license. It's a long journey, but passed last year, August. I actually
congrats.
Congrats for that, man.
The difficult thing of being a goalkeeper coach, you have to become a coach first. So I have to go to the same coaching license. I have to acquire my coaching license up to a C license. Then I can pursue my goalkeeper coach license. So
didn't know that.
Yeah. So now we don't really say goalkeeper coach. We say assistant coach, specializing in goalkeeping.
Okay. Well, you could because you're already a coach, a regular coach, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's my first goal, and thanks again to the ABFA, I actually achieved that goal. One of my biggest personal goal is to help other goalkeeper coaches. So right now I'm doing a program with the ABFA every Saturday where I do a workshop with different goalkeeper coach and goalkeepers just to educate them.
Look, Janil.
Yes.
Janil gone from playing a goalkeeper, breaking his hand, don't know what to do. They took him into the coaching arena, and now he's actually a mentor and a coach.
Yes, I'm coaching the goalkeeper coach now, so that we can have more goalkeeper coaches around the island. Hopefully that they can get the education, they can get the license, so we can take this whole throughout the whole entire island, throughout all different academies. I have to say special thanks to Generation X to give me that platform to actually go and help the goalkeepers. As you can see, when we are training, it could be one goalkeeper. I'm taking him or her just to show him and teach him the art of being a goalkeeper.
Well, if they listen and they adhere and they focus on what you're teaching them, I think we could be good.
Absolutely.
I think we'll be good. By listening to what you say and how passionate you are about it, I think we're going to be good on that aspect. As long as they focus and they listen. Yes. But thank you so much, Janil, for coming to the GN Sports Show. Cool. It's been a pleasure. Jayden, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys for being here. And Patrice?
Yeah, that's it until we see you guys next time.
That's it until we see you guys next time. We'll be right back with the GN Sports Show.
Welcome back, viewers. On this segment of our show, we have with us Mr. Demir Vavan, the founder and director of Future Pro, joining us all the way from the UK. Demir, we want to first start by saying welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me,
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. Sorry, we appreciate that you are quite a number of hours ahead of us, so we really, really are appreciative of you being here today.
No problem. I'm glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to coming out very soon and seeing the event. So yeah, all good.
Awesome. So we look forward to meeting you. Now, without further ado, we'll just run into a few questions that we have just to learn a little bit more about the work that Future Pro does in the UK and what some of our student athletes here in Antigua can look forward to once you are with us for the CAF Combine. So for starters, what would you say inspired you to establish a club such as Future Pro, and how has that vision evolved since your first inception in 2012?
Since 2012, we've always been looking at the opportunities to develop the next generation of football players coming through. I'm a big believer in investing a lot of time in young, talented athletes, enabling them to take their career to the next level. And, one thing that we have done since 2012 is really establish a clear pathway for students to embark upon their football journey, but also their education and academic progression routes as well within the field of both football and education, and understanding the key concept of what Future Pro is about in terms of enabling young students to take their game and career to the next level, and understanding that also Antigua players of a high, they're out there with a high level, can have the opportunity to do that here in the UK. It's a fantastic thing, and that's something that we are deeply invested in terms of enabling them to progress to that next level and give them the opportunities to do so.
Brilliant. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. You mentioned a lot about the educational aspect of Future Pro. So share with us why, for you as a professional, education is such a critical component of your program. How would you say that benefits the players beyond their football careers?
Well, personally, from my background, going through the football process and everything around it, having taken all the UEFA licensed coaching badges and different things, and understanding the academic side of things, the education is simply very important in terms of young players and young people if they want to progress to that next level, it's also understanding the academic element, what's involved as well. So in terms of the education side of things, Future Pro not only offer the football, but with the education side, students can study the A-level route. They can also go down the aspect of studying the BTEC or the NCFE route in the level 3, which is again the equivalent to 3 A-levels in sport. And that can really give them an insight into developing a strong career in the football field. The education has always been a big influence in terms of, from my side, having started as a teacher and as a coach. Now I'm the academy and I'm the director of the organisation Future Pro, but having a clear sort of guidance of what sport and Future Pro can provide in terms of both the football and the academics is very important for young athletes out there who want to make it into the pro space, but also understanding that there is a backup involved as well, and the amount of opportunities with sport being a multi-billion-pound sport industry now that it is, that the education is paramount to that as well, that supports the football side.
Absolutely, and I completely agree with you, because one of the mandates of the Generation Next Football Club as well as the CAF Advance Academy is to ensure that players really do have a strong educational background, because we do know, and it's something that we've stated so often, that a football career may not work out for any particular reason, and so students will definitely have something to fall back on or be able to pursue careers in football but not necessarily on the field. So we do implore them to continue in that path. So just back to you, Demir, you mentioned that you were a coach previously. We are aware that you have a whole decade of coaching under your belt with clubs such as AFC Bournemouth and Birmingham City FC. What lessons would you say you have applied to the way Future Pro operates from your coaching experience?
From my coaching experience working at AFC Bournemouth, for example, going back many years ago, from when the likes of Eddie Howe were there, I came through the academy system in Bournemouth as a coach when Eddie Howe was actually now the Newcastle United manager. He was head of youth at the time, and a gentleman called Joe Roach was the academy director. I had some fantastic mentorship during my way, and Joe Roach is someone that I still speak with today, and he was someone that came through that progression route. But the biggest thing that I can honestly say is, from the coaching side of things and what that provides and instills in people that want to come through the next step in terms of the progression is very key to the fundamentals in life and being a success. And the massive things that I learned along the way in terms of my time during AFC Bournemouth were, that was, I wouldn't say an apprenticeship, but it was a fantastic guideline in terms of instilling the foundations as a young coach, as a young man at the time, going through and learning through some great people. Like I said, Eddie Howe was there, Joe Roach, the academy director. Working with some great people has taught me a lot of great key things, and you only have to look at these guys and what they've brought through in the decade and or so in the work that they've provided to being a success. And the fundamentals, as I mentioned, have been really key, and discipline and the work rate in terms of the structure, the fundamentals, the characteristics have enabled a lot of key things to progress during that time.
Really, really nice. Just moving on, what would you say from your experience is possibly the most challenging or the biggest challenge, I'd say, that young players face during their transition? And as a club, how does Future Pro address this?
Future Pro, we put the player at the centre of everything that we do. Every person, every player is different. And the biggest thing that I stress about is the mental skills side of the game. My background when I was working within AFC Bournemouth at the time was coming through as not a sports psychologist, but as a mental skills coach, understanding that not only was I a coach and there to hopefully achieve the best for peak performance for the professionals, but also guiding them on their journey. And a lot of the time at the highest level, it's not just about what they do in the physical side or the technical side. It's the mental skills, the endurance of what makes a top athlete and how they live, what they do on a day-to-day basis, and installing the key things. And with the experience and the skill set and the product of what we've delivered and the proven track record of not only producing good young men, and actually females that have gone on to work in the game at the highest level. It's also having a philosophy that we shared and what we've developed to progress players on to achieving their full potential. And that's something that we have had great pride in actually achieving and doing and delivering now every year. And that's what's made us, I think, separate us apart from those that are in our field in terms of having that proven track record and consistency in achieving those things year on and year out.
That's a great point, because I did have a question for you about the way in which Future Pro keeps themselves or keep yourself at the forefront of innovation, especially with sports science increasing or playing an increasing role in football. So if you want to touch on that, we can open the floor for that.
In terms of the sports science, so Future Pro, when players come in, we like to adopt the four-corner approach. So we will build a data basis on terms of every player. We will collate the physical needs of the player. So we will do a lot of fitness testing and data tracking, and we will collate a file on them. On the psychological needs of them, we will sit down with our sports psychologists. We will look at the technical side of things and adapt different technical practices that are proven within the Premier League or Football League. We will adopt the same systems in terms of what they would use, the modern day technology. So they will get a four-corner approach from us. We will develop a holistical approach to meet the players' needs, both personally and as a football is a team environment, ensuring that they adapt and make sure they meet the modern day trends of the team. There's often where players will come through our system and the football clubs at a pro level will say, they will phone me or my team and say, what do we have on this player? We can send them the data from a physical testing point of view. We can send them match footage because all the games are analysed on VO, which again is a modern trend in the game for analysis and performance analysis. And also we can adapt them technically and tactically through our UEFA licensed specialist coaching team. So all the guys at Future Pro from a coaching perspective have either played at the highest level. David Phillips, our lead coach, he's got great experience. He's worked with professionals. He's played for Manchester City, Nottingham Forest, and he's played at international level over 60 times. He will work with the players day to day, and he will talk them through and put them through their paces on the ground, which is invaluable experience. And the players can ask him questions in terms of how they reach the next level, which is great because they've got someone who's been there and done it. But they've also got academy industry leading staff who have worked in departments. Mark Muddyman's a great guy who's my academy manager. He's been academy-wide EP at Watford, where he's worked with lads like, Jadon Sancho, who's worked with Jude Bellingham at Birmingham City. When I was at Birmingham City at the time, I met Mark, and we had a common interest in developing young players. So it's been really key, developing a fundamental, strong product, which has helped young players progress through the system. And those transferable skills have been there in ensuring they can reach their game.
Really impressive. So kudos to Future Pro on that. We won't keep you much longer, but we do just have a few more questions to run through. We are fully aware of your success stories and the fact that you've helped players reach the Premier League, Football League, and even international levels. Could you share with us some of your standout success stories that highlight the Academy's impact?
Yeah, I think over the years, having worked as not only a coach in the academy space with players, we brought through players like Harvey Barnes, who now are relishing at Newcastle United on a one-to-one basis. We've worked with players who are adopting from an academy background, like I mentioned, from the sports psychology side. When I was at AFC Bournemouth, with players like Danny Ings, who were in the youth team coming through at the time. But the biggest thing, the standouts have been a lot of the young people we've worked with who are now employable. We had a lot of people who are not only earning careers in full-time football, whether that's National League and the Football League, but they're also becoming employable in the aspect that they're young entrepreneurs, they've got their own businesses, they're employable, they've got good careers, they're also working and playing in full-time football. And that's across the female and the male game, because as I mentioned, sport is now a multi-billion-dollar industry. There's so many pathways and so many different skill sets that people can take along their journey that can enable them to have success and reach their full potential. And with what Future Pro does, hopefully we can give the opportunity for young people to go on and reach their next level in terms of taking their game to the next level, but also their careers. So whether that's a career within football, within playing, but also from the coaching side and the analysis, whether it's the physiotherapy side or the agency side or the sports medicine and different elements of psychology and different things. we've liked to, over the years, we've provided a variety of different options if football hasn't worked out. And now seeing students, former students or players that have come through our system, having reached the top heights in terms of not only just playing, but maybe they've had an injury during the way and they've gone on to go on to bigger and better things in their career, has been fantastic to see. So we've been very pleased with the progression and development aspects of what we can offer, but also the pathways, which is massively important for any young people, coming through this space in terms of the football and the sport and the education side as well.
Really nice. And I'm sure you and your team at Future Pro must be extremely happy about this journey and the fact that you've created such an impact along the way. And really quickly before you go, what advice would you give to, say, young aspiring footballers who dream of a professional career but may be facing challenges or setbacks along the way?
In terms of the key things that I would always say is, a lot of people will look at where they need to improve and what they need to do. The biggest thing that I would honestly say is, what's your USP as a person, and you need to own it in terms of what makes you stand out amongst the crowd. And if that is dribbling, if that is you're a number 10 and you can drive at players and get in the pocket and drive and be direct, be dynamic, be creative, assist and score, that's great. And I would honestly say that the players that we work with, we try and hone us in on what their skills are and what their USP is. We don't worry too much about what they're not good at, but we try and enlighten what their strengths are to push them to reach peak performance in terms of showcasing what they're about. Because ultimately, as any young players, when we come over to whether we go to the States or to Antigua or different countries, we honestly look at what the current player's potential is and how we can take them to the next level by maximizing their true potential. And that's a key thing, because ultimately we can't be great at everything, but if we can focus on one or two things and maximize that potential and skill asset, then the rest obviously takes care of itself, and we can obviously help them, the player and the person, evolve as a modern day player into terms of pushing on to that next level and reaching their full potential.
Great response. Demir, we thank you so much for joining us this evening. We know you will be in beautiful Antigua very soon, so we look forward to welcoming you and hosting you.
Yeah.
And you and the team at Future Pro all the very best for the future, and I'm sure you're looking forward to meeting some of our amazing student athletes once you get here.
Definitely, I'm looking forward to it, and for sure some warmer weather as well would be great. So I'm looking forward to coming out to Antigua, and everything's great, and Ricky's been nothing but superb since we've been working together and different things. So I look forward to seeing you guys soon.
All the best. See you soon.
Take care. Thank you.
And welcome back. And as we said, we have Mount Pleasant FC here. We have Donovan Pert, the head coach. We have Christian Lee, and we have Jaden Green, members of the under 15 and under 13 of Mount Pleasant. So guys, welcome to the GN Sports Show. You guys are some of the first guests in 2025. So be lucky and be happy for that. How are you guys doing today? Well, so let me ask you all something. This is about football.
Yeah.
You like football?
Yeah. Definitely.
You love football. Who got you involved in football?
Well, I always had a love for the sport, but I really never got the chance to start playing at a younger age. But later on, my mother started asking around, and I got Coach Donovan's number from my aunt.
Okay. What about you, Christian?
Honestly, I loved it since I was just even little. My first word was ball. It was in my DNA. Who got me into football? Honestly, my dad. But also watching the sport growing up, it just made me have a deeper connection with it. I always liked Ronaldo, Messi, Neymar, the way they can dribble through teams and score. So yeah.
Wait, so what position you play?
Left wing.
Left wing. What about you?
Right back or centre back.
Right back or centre back. Okay, well now as you mentioned these superstars, who is your favorite player?
Me.
Good. Touché, Christian. What about you, Jaden?
Virgil van Dijk.
Virgil van Dijk. No, he's really good. He's really, really good. And what school do you attend?
I go to Island Academy.
Okay. And what about you?
St. Joseph's Academy.
Very good. What grade?
9, but there's 2 grade 9, so I'm in A.
Okay. And what about you? So wait, 9th grade, because you didn't, an academy, you guys do grades, right? So it's 9th
Yes.
grade. So that's what, Form 1?
Form 3.
Form 3. Form 3. What about you?
Second form.
Second form? Okay. That's good, man. That's good. So let me ask you all something. You have a favorite team? Other than Mount Pleasant, let me coach here, so I don't want to beg ban from the next game. Other than Mount Pleasant, who's your favorite team? It could be a local team, it could be an international team. Who you backing in the Premier League?
Manchester City.
I don't know, the game looks real bad, boy. What about you?
Liverpool.
Liverpool on top, I can tell you.
That's
they're
just
on top
you.
right now. So,
Yeah,
you know
right
what I mean?
now.
What is that?
Right now.
Right now. What about y'all have a favorite teacher?
No.
Wow.
Well, maybe my art teacher.
Sorry if you're watching this.
Miss Clendenin. Maybe because she is very interactive with the students and very fun at times, but don't get her vexed.
That's a nice trait to have as a teacher. Any of the Island Academy teachers out there and looking and they see Christian Lee, we gotta check the grades come this term. So guys, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys, but right now I want to hear from the boss himself, the founder of Mount Pleasant FC. Donovan, the stage is yours. Let the people know what Mount Pleasant FC is about. Let them know how it came up. And who is Donovan?
Good night, everybody. Thanks for having me. Football. Mount Pleasant is just about football because what happened is from a tender age, in my community, I wanted to have a football team. We didn't have enough to do, especially in the summer. So at a young age, I went to all the people in the neighborhood trying to get them to help us to sponsor. And, it came about and we had a team back home in Jamaica. And it was very good. So when I got here now, playing with Old Road, it was such a nice feeling seeing the youngsters coming out every evening. So I used to take time out just to go down early before training to do maybe an hour with the young kids, you know what I mean? And that's the love, just seeing them coming up and playing, able to play with me at one point. Some of them, started playing before I retire. So after retiring from that, I decided, look, you know what, I'm gonna give back. Yeah. So I started coaching with Old Road first as a help, and then afterwards I get in touch with North Coast and we started working there. And it just goes on and on. But now Mount Pleasant, after North Coast finished Mount Pleasant, I decided, no, I can't stop. You know what I mean? So it was a challenge to start a team for myself. It was really a challenge in terms of getting people on board, the coaches, and even getting the business register. That was the challenge for me. And after I realized, look, I remember my team back home and know, so look, I can't stop. I remember the kids, I have to keep going. So that's when I decided to get a team together and ask them to trust me, in terms of the coaching staff and managers. Ask them to trust me, and they did. And we come together and start Mount Pleasant. And it was challenging, but after a few weeks, oh my God, seeing the kids coming in and enjoying themselves, having fun. We had 2 coaches before, and they come back with us, they started working, and it was just fun. So I want to make a change in terms of how we approach football here in Antigua. I think we need to do a little bit more, a lot more. But the academies, I believe, is what is going to change a lot, especially in and around the national teams and getting players going after colleges and stuff like that. So yes, the football for me is everything.
No, you sound very passionate about the sport, and as you rightly say, it's very important for us to try to focus a little more on athleticism and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Focus more on football and the basketballs and the tennis and the swimming, and because kids need an outlet first of all, right? We need to focus. We can't always drown them in academics. They need to have something else that actually takes their mind away and frees them up, and also give them exercise.
Of course.
And I think as a Caribbean island, the Caribbean is a football place.
Yes.
Right?
I
And
agree.
everybody, plays football. Whether or not you use a bottle outside during school time, a wrap-up foil paper, you know what I mean? All I do that already. You know what I mean? It's important that we do put a lot more in the sport, because we don't realize really how much of a business football is becoming. It's not just a sport in the back there, it's a business now. You know what I mean? And I do admire you and I applaud you for your efforts, because every time I pass by, I see the numbers growing in Mount Pleasant. You know what I mean? And as you said, it started off a little shaky, and we heard about the shakiness, but you held on, man. You held on to those reins and you stabilized everything. That's very admirable.
For real. And I have to say kudos to the parents that actually believe, and invited other parents to take their kids over, because it's important. You know what I mean? So that's a big thing for me. Having the kids them coming out in the evening, even what's happening now in Antigua, in terms of the violence in schools and stuff like that. A lot of the kids need somewhere to go after school, need something to do after school, and we just, like everybody's just leaving them, but we have to do something. And that's my drive, to get them off the street, get them playing.
So with over 12 years of football and coaching experience, with over 12 years coaching experience, what would you say is your philosophy when it comes to football and, the kids and so forth?
To respect the game. To respect the game, make sure my staff respect players. All players respect the staff.
Very important.
Officials and all of that. But the driving force in me is the guts and determination. I want them to have that. Right. So that's my philosophy, for us to respect the game and all that comes with it.
What are your long-term goals, Donovan, for football in Mount Pleasant and your hopes in Antigua? What are your long-term goals, and how do you think that you're going to continue impacting the sport in the community and in the country as a whole?
Well, even this might sound strange, but this have to happen. We have to get the coaches up to speed. This is the only way we're going to get better players, better organization. And this is a problem we have here. So we want to be able to have coaches that can touch players. Right? So my goal right now is, for me, is like a microcycle. I'm using some microcycle event to build, because I'm still learning. You know what I mean? I don't want to say, look, my goal in 20 years is supposed to be this. As I go along, I'm realizing that, look, maybe a year, 2 years, I realize I need to change this. I'm not going to stick with it. And I'm going to ask questions sometime, and I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to learn. So this is what I want to do. I want to be able to not just help the players, but we need to have better coaches, more coaches here in Antigua in order to change this. So I want to have a holistic thing for football to change. Football on a whole to change completely. That coaches and people from abroad can come. Fly down to Antigua to find players.
Well, it's like teachers, right? If your teachers aren't geared to bring forth a lesson, then the student's not going to learn. You know what I mean? And it can't be that the lesson that you've learned 10 years ago, you're still trying to teach that, which is good because it's fundamental. But then life changes, the relevance of that has its part, and then we have more, and that is very important, because we've had conversations about that, about the coaches stepping up their game and advancing their knowledge about different techniques, and even, which I think is very, very important, coaches you have to also be, like Donovan said, you have to also try to be a counselor. You have to be a counselor because you have to also try to understand these kids, that just the empathy that we need when we do what we have to do. Now, let me ask you a quick question, Christian and Jaden. How do you manage schoolwork and football? How do you manage that? What is the balance that you guys have between football and schoolwork?
Well, to be honest, even though I love football with a passion, I always put schoolwork first. Always get my assignments done on time. And even after training, after school, I still make sure I stay up late nights if I have to, just to get my work done. And I try and manage my time between also video games at home with my schoolwork so that I can get it done and not be miserable throughout the week because I have nothing done.
Very good, very good concept, man. What about you, Jaden?
For me, I always try to finish it maybe before the class even ends. So if I don't have the time at home, I can finish it early in the morning, or like Christian said, late at night. And like, one of my only day offs is probably Sunday between football, swimming, and school. So if I have any homework, I'll probably just do everything on Sunday.
That's very good. It's been a pleasure having you guys here. I love the focus you guys have. I love the discipline that you guys show. Let me ask you something. When you all go practice, you all socks and shin guards on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Up to your knees?
Yes. I even got some new shin guards.
That's a pet peeve of mine. That's a pet peeve of mine. If you don't feel it, if you don't dress the part, they don't feel it, you're not going to do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, you will.
Coach Donovan, listen to me. It's been such a pleasure. You know what I mean? I always feel very uplifted with people like you that come in, because I'm also a giver of the community, and I love to do what I can do. As I always tell people, your gifts are not for you, it's for someone else. You know what I mean? And you're really using your gift to do what you're put here for. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And definitely we will see Mount Pleasant FC again on the stage, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And we might even give you guys a visit.
Yes.
So thanks you guys for being here. Coming up next in GN Sports Show.
We would like to thank the sponsors of Generation Next: Fruta, Antigua Masonry Products, Kenneth A. Gomez Insurance Agency, Island Photo, and Francis Trading Agency.
And welcome back to the GN Sports Show. Again, this is the fun segment of the GN Sports Show, where we get to be entertained and educated by none other than Dr. Rick. Dr. Rick, welcome back. Happy 2025.
Yes.
You too. Happy New Year.
Happy
Haven't
New
seen you
Year.
in a while, Jason.
I know it's been
See,
years.
I remembered your name, Jason.
It's been years.
It's been years.
Years.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Happy New Year. We're glad to be here. Thank you to the Cal Air Foundation for sponsoring this. You know, thanks to Ricky Santos
Absolutely.
for bringing us here and bringing us to a new year where we can talk about some interesting topics.
Yep.
Educate people, change the world. How's
Change
that?
the world.
Let's change the world.
So what do you have
So
for us this
what
time?
I have for you this time. Oh, that's good.
What do you have?
I brought a mystery guest. There's a mystery guest. And this mystery guest is Nicole Moldovan. And Nicole soon is going to be Dr. Nicole Moldovan.
Very nice.
She's here in Antigua doing her research on her PhD in occupational therapy.
Very impressive.
Right? And so we don't really know too much about occupational therapy here, but she's going to tell us a little bit about it and why it's such an important career,
Yes.
and how kids who may be watching this and adults who may be watching this, if they don't want to go to medical school and become doctors, but they want to have a health career, they want to help people, it's a wonderful, wonderful field. So she's going to tell us a little bit about that. And she's from Monmouth University in New Jersey. And so, you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to put her on the spot
Passing it over to
to
me.
introduce herself.
And
do you like that?
welcome, Miss Nicole
Thank
Moldova.
you. Thank you, Dr. Rick, and thank you to the GN Sports Show for having me. Happy New Year to everyone
Happy New Year.
tuning in. I'm Nicole Moldova, and I am so thrilled to be here to be representing the field of occupational therapy. So occupational therapy is a healthcare profession that works with individuals across the lifespan to achieve independence and also engage in meaningful activities. And this could be whether they're dealing with recovering from an injury or managing chronic conditions, or simply if they want to be independent in their daily lives to live fuller lives. And what makes OT so unique is its holistic approach. So we not only look at the physical, but we look at the cognitive, the social, the emotional factors. And for students who are looking for a meaningful healthcare profession that includes collaboration, creativity, compassion, and problem solving, this role offers a lot of opportunities for that. We also work in various healthcare settings, so we work in hospitals, schools, community programs, and mental health programs, so there's a lot of opportunities to work in different settings. I'm really excited to be working with Dr. Rick and the team at AUA on a research project that talks about or looks at early onset cognitive decline because of its implications for future or its support on how we would manage chronic conditions in the future. So I'm thrilled to be here, and I hope that this piques an interest in other people to join the career of occupational therapy.
Right.
Well,
So what we're trying to do, let me add something there. What we're trying to do is, for a person to get a doctoral degree in something, they should be contributing something brand new to the world, creating a lot of new knowledge.
Right.
So we're trying to create new knowledge about how the brain processes information. And we're using medical students as our subjects because they've got to process a lot of information.
Yes.
And we do brainwave tests. We actually measure their brain waves. It's called electroencephalography. And we have a cutting-edge program that actually breaks their brain waves down to all of its components, and we can actually measure and quantitate all these different components, which usually is not done when they measure brain waves clinically. And so what we're trying to do is use the medical students as a model for when you are challenged with a high cognitive load, how does your brain process that?
Right.
And so we're hoping that we're going to develop new tests for people who have chronic diseases because, Nicole will tell you, most chronic diseases, even hypertension. People, I didn't mean to think that you have hypertension.
Because I want to know. I was like, did my doctor call you?
Well, the reason is, let's take an example of hypertension. Hypertension is rampant here in Antigua. Okay? Anywhere there are people of African descent have the highest rate of hypertension in the world.
Yes, that is true.
And there's
We just stressed, man.
well, yes, part of that is oppression and stress that came from the terrible, terrible thing that is associated with slavery. Think about it. All of that. In fact, I have created a very interesting hypothesis as to why African Americans have the highest rate of hypertension in the world, right? And it had a lot to do with what was going on the slave ships. And because the people who on the slave ships who couldn't save their salt, couldn't keep their water in their body, they died. And they got thrown overboard. They never made it to the Americas. This is part of the Americas, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Donald Trump notwithstanding. At least we're not. At least they're not calling it the
Gulf of Antigua, America.
And so, think about those people that got there to the Americas. Those were people who could save their salt, save their water, but now they didn't need to. And so they developed high blood pressure from it.
Wow.
And those are the people who created all these generations. You see?
With the same habits.
with the same
Yes,
habits
dieting.
and genes.
Yeah,
They had genes that saved their
Predispose
lives,
them.
and now those same genes are killing them. Because we have KFC.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope they're not a sponsor.
That's okay, no.
Okay.
No, but Dr. Vic, that's true, right? So a lot of people seem to think that hypertension, diabetes, or what have you, cancers are all hereditary. But it's not hereditary.
A lot of them are
What is
lifestyle
hereditary
illnesses.
is the habits.
Yes.
That happens. The habits from your grandmother and your great-grandmother.
Great-grandmother.
They are accustomed with one thing and it keeps trickling down. So that's the actual habit. But there's nothing in your DNA that...
Not
Well,
always.
it is too.
Not
No, it's
always.
both. It's a combination.
You can get some in your blood.
Yes,
okay,
it's a
yes,
combination.
blood pressure
It's a
happens, but
combination.
It's a combination.
In fact, you know what we call that? We call that epigenetics.
Say that 3 times fast.
Epigenetics.
Good for you.
And epigenetics refers to environment-gene interaction. So it's the environment you're talking about from grandma that now is interacting with a person's genes. And if they have a gene, like I was describing before, they'll get it. And
Yes.
if they don't have that gene, they won't get it. So it's a susceptibility. So it's a little bit of both. You see? But the whole idea is that all these chronic diseases, like hypertension, diabetes, are associated with cognitive decline. People may not realize it because it happens very slowly.
Right.
But their ability to process information, which is going to affect their work and their relationships and all of this, suffers. And even their decision making about their disease, even their decision making about how much they're going to engage in their own rehabilitation and healing is affected. So what we want to do is create new knowledge for the world, don't we, Nicole?
Yes, we do.
And that new knowledge of the world is going to develop new tests where, just like we're doing for the medical students, we're testing how they're processing the information. We're hoping to find a brainwave signature that is going to tell us that this person who doesn't have dementia yet is going to have dementia later. Right? And more important for occupational therapy, what?
Whether they have a chronic condition and we see that the brain waves are changing, and how we can teach and train them how to complete independent activities again.
You see?
So, Nicole, what got you into occupational therapy? What was the driving force behind you thinking, you know what, I want to become an occupational therapist?
So
wow, that's such a great question.
I'm telling you, I try. Is the hair, is the hair.
Yeah.
Or lack thereof.
So I actually started off with doing PA because I knew I wanted to be in the healthcare field. And then my roommate in college was going through the OT program, and I was like, oh, what's OT? What is it? What does it do? Like, what do you do? And she was telling me about it, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So you help rehabilitate people, but you're so creative in the sense where you think about new interventions for them and think of ways to make their lives better. And not to knock on PAs, but you kind of deliver bad news sometimes. And tell them, like, this is happening and this is what you need to do next. But OTs on the other side are on the side of therapy, so they help them achieve their goals. And we're more on the positive side of healthcare. So that's what really drove me into this field.
It's very good, but it's a tough job, I'm sure.
Yes.
And just the scope of it, because as going through life on normal, getting someone to think rational or to think optimistic and to think positive is actually way harder than anything else. You know what I mean? Even though they're at their brink where you got diagnosed with something, or even like you lose your job, or you got divorced, or your relationship broke up, for you to stop, don't look at the situation, but think about the situation in mind and focus on how you could make yourself better through the situation. We don't do that because our first impulse is to be irrational and react.
Yes.
And so that is the problem. So the occupational therapist, you now have the job, the task of making them, as they say, woosah.
Yeah.
And come to a resolve and see that there's a different light and how we can overcome the negative aspect of where we are with positive influence and scope of it. I do applaud you guys.
So now it's time to change the track a little bit and say, okay, what the heck does this have to do with youth sports? Ah,
Yep.
see?
Yep.
Why didn't you ask me that question?
I was, but you
about
jumped the gun. You jumped it? No, you jumped
Yes, I
it.
had that too.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Okay, how do we tie in sports, especially sports injuries? Just piggybacking
Yeah.
off of what Jason was just talking about, because we had an earlier guest who was talking about his progression as a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And he was pretty much at the height of that career, and then he got an injury, a really bad one. So I'm just trying to ask you guys to help us connect, us and our viewers to connect how occupational therapy
Yeah.
can play into things like sports injury, etc.
Well, firstly, we have to think about inclusiveness.
Okay.
So, again, somebody who's already a high-performing athlete and gets injured, well, they usually go to a physical therapist,
Right.
right? Depends how severe it is, but they may need surgery. They may need prolonged rehabilitation,
Yes.
right? And the physical therapist can only do so much.
Absolutely.
Plus, they may also have to work. They may work at a job where they have to use their intellect and they're in a lot of pain. So an occupational therapist can have special interventions for that, to look at the whole person rather than the physical therapist is only looking at the part that's the knee that's injured,
right,
or the
right,
shoulder
right.
that's injured. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
We actually had the Calvinair Foundation assisted a case a few years back. It was in the news about this young man, really young at the time. He was a volleyball player for Antigua and Barbuda, and he met in a really bad accident. It was actually a January, and the accident had him, close to death. And a big part of his rehabilitation process was not just, like you said, the physical therapy, but they had to bring in a speech therapist and an occupational therapist. And one of the things that came out, I remember we were talking with one of the OTs, and she was talking about how his cognitive skills helped him to rehabilitate at a faster rate.
Yeah.
While the PT was able to tell us how physically he was bouncing back because of muscle memory. The OT was there to explain to us from a cognitive level how he was improving in that area.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
So now that we understand that about the high performing, the good athlete and all of that, there's another area that isn't usually addressed, especially in nations that don't have a lot of resources or don't have occupational therapists readily available. And that is it important for youth who are not able-bodied, who are partially handicapped or disabled or what? There's so many different. By the way, what is the proper words we use for that these days?
There's so many. Children with disabilities. I mean, there's a bunch.
Yeah. So what's politically correct?
Yeah, it's politically.
That's what I want to know.
Differently abled.
Yeah.
I've heard that one going around.
Okay. So why is it?
Or mobility challenged.
Mobility challenge. Well, I'm mobility challenged. For sure. Haven't you seen me walk?
Yeah.
And I just finished playing tennis, so I'm more mobility challenged
On
right
Nintendo?
now. Huh?
Or you play tennis on Nintendo? Or PS4 or something?
Oh, yeah. On a real tennis court. But a mobility challenge, so you can imagine how good I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, Nicole, let me ask, what is the comparison between what you're pursuing, occupational therapy, and, let's say, psychologist, counselor? Because we're all dealing with getting your mind right when it's time to get back into life and get back into the run of things and not thinking about your injury or your downfall and, letting your mind cure your problems. You're an OT, but there are also people that also think maybe a psychologist is going to do that, or maybe a counselor is going to do that. What is the difference between you and them?
So we're actually really close with PTs as well. We overlap in work in the sense where we also rehabilitate muscles and things like that. We also help with the physical, but we also look at the emotional, the cognitive, psychosocial, everything going on with the person. So we look at the environment, what occupation are they trying to fulfill, what's going on personally, what are they dealing with, what are their emotions. We look at the whole person, and that's what makes the field so holistic. So we look at the whole person and we deal with one thing at a time. So if something is challenging in the environment, we fix the environment first. If something is challenging for the person, we fix that, and then we keep going.
So a psychologist or a physical therapist usually doesn't do that.
Right.
They're just, more specific. She's more holistic, looking at the whole picture. And so it's very valuable.
Absolutely.
Not everybody needs it, though.
Yes.
Everybody could benefit from it. I know I could benefit from an occupational therapist.
No, but I beg to differ. I think everyone needs it, even if you're not injured or not hurt. Because I think a lot of us go around our normal day not having our mind right. And that's why sometimes we cannot progress the way we want to progress, and because we feel held back and so forth.
there's some limitation
and
otherwise.
something is stopping us, but sometimes we stop ourselves, we limit ourselves. So I think occupational therapy is so important because it's something that we should encounter even when we think nothing is wrong. Because honestly, something is wrong, because we can't get to our best self if we don't think of ourselves as able to get to our best selves. But it's been great. I have been very enlightened about everything. Every time you come, there's always new information, and I'm sure our guests, they have to be paying a lot of attention to what you bring, because it's always stuff that shakes up your mental space. You know what I mean? They don't think about it, and this is food for thought. And we're hungry. We're hungry. Some of us don't know it, but we're very hungry.
I get it.
Right? So thank you so much, Dr. Rick.
Thank you.
For being here. It's always a pleasure. Nicole, it's always a pleasure to have you here. So until next week.
Can our mystery guest come back again sometime?
Of course she can come back next time.
She won't be a mystery guest anymore.
No, she won't be a mystery guest. So you can come back next time and then leave Dr. Rick.
Thank you, Jason.
But it's been a pleasure having you guys. And on behalf of Patrice, myself, the GN Sports Show, until next week, guys, it's been a pleasure. See you soon.
GN Sports Show. Interviews, insights, dreams taking flight. We show them how to handle the spotlight, preparing them for the journey ahead, building confidence, the words left unsaid. From the grassroots to the national scene, young athletes chasing every dream. In every game, there's a story to tell. GN Sports Show, we know them well. GN Sports, where the youth lead the way. Champions of tomorrow, making waves today. From ages 5 and up, we help them grow. It's their time to shine on the GN Sports Show. GN Sports Show. Interviews where the youth lead the way. Champions of tomorrow, making waves today. From ages 5 and up, we help them grow. It's their time to shine on the GN Sports Show. GN Sports